Good morning, violins and violas. Welcome to week 3 of our digital online orchestra learning. Now, if you're anything like me, I'm starting to get a little bit weary of teaching to a camera, and I'm sure you are getting a little bit weary of being taught by a camera. But hang in there, you guys. You're doing such a great job. Please keep up the practicing, and you will be just fine. I'm doing everything I can to make sure that you are still just as successful, and hopefully you are doing everything you can to make sure you are just as successful too. This is the first of 2 videos that are going to be posted to this week's assignment. This week's assignment has to do with the second part of Go Tell Aunt Rhody. There's a couple of things that I want to tell you about Go Tell Aunt Rhody. Number 1, your bow stroke. Please play all of Go Tell Aunt Rhody, both parts, with a smooth legato bow stroke. That was one of the questions that I got a lot last week. Smooth legato bow stroke. Secondly, I'm going to use my little whiteboard here. The musical form of Go Tell Aunt Rhody looks like this. A, B, A. You've already been working on part A, so you're good to go with that one. In a few minutes, I'll post how to play part B. Once you've practiced that part, you will have known all of the notes of Go Tell Aunt Rhody. So when you play part A, you go straight to part B and then right back to the second part A. That is what you are going to be doing when you play the whole song for a gold medal test next week. That's right, you're gonna play the whole song for me next week. If you're practicing like you should be every day, that should be no problem. Okay, couple things that I wanna tell you about part B. I should have grabbed an eraser, sorry. Part B of Go Tell Aunt Rhody is I need to make a little update to our 2-line staff. This is how we've been learning how to play Go Tell Aunt Rhody, by actually reading the notes on the lines and spaces. So here we have our 2-line staff. This is nothing that should be unfamiliar. We have so far several notes that we know on the 2-line staff, and I'm gonna put them up here. Sorry. Okay, here's what we have so far. So far we know this much. We know that this is D, which means that this is going to be what note? E, thank you. This is obvious, it's going to be what note? Good, F sharp. And then the next note is G. And then finally, that note sitting very much at the top of the line there is what? A. Good. Now, in order to play part B of Go Tell Aunt Rhody, we have to add one more note to our 2-line staff, and that is B. And I want you to think for a second, where would B probably go? Would it go somewhere here in the middle? Would it go down here at the bottom by D? Would it go next to A? What would probably happen? Just think about it for a second. If you're thinking that it should be neighbors with A, you are 100% correct. Hopefully you were thinking about the musical alphabetical order of things and how the notes that we've talked about so far are all neighbors and all that stuff. So here is what B looks like on our 2-line staff. I'm gonna put it up here so you can see. Okay. B, as you can see right there, is on a little tiny half line. It's called a ledger line, which is an extension of the staff that we know so far. So the only time you'll see that little extra line is when you are going to play first finger B on your A string, okay? So putting this down for a second, when you are working on your quiz for this week, you will have a new updated reference sheet to look at with this B now included. Notice it's on the little half line up there, okay? And I want you to also look, this is part B, all written out for you on the 2-line staff. You'll see that in measure 2 and in measure 4, you have some first finger Bs in there. And our next video will be a practice video going through every single one of these measures and putting them all together to make sure that you understand how to play part B. So make sure that you have access to this and this video showing you this brand new note on our 2-line staff. It's now kind of a 2.5-line staff, right? Because it's just a little half line that extends it a little bit. So there you have it. Make sure that you really understand how this works. Otherwise, part B might be a little tricky. So stay tuned for the second practice video. Bye, guys.